Hi, I'm back. Still Tuesday. That's why I'm wearing the same shirt. So I just figured out we are on chapter 43. There's also 43 pages left, and there are 51 chapters. So we're getting near the end. Yesterday we left off reading about Shay had killed an ant, and Oliver was like, "Ant murderer, ant murderer." And Mr. Daniel says, "You have the kindest heart. You care so much about everything. You're going to make a great man someday." Today is chapter 43, and it's called Set the World on Fire. After the teasing that Albert has taken for his shirt, Keisha and I decide to do something for him. The teasing hadn't seemed to bother him that much, but it bothers us. So we made our own shirts to go along with his. We walk up behind him while he's organizing his papers into piles. "Albert, do you like our shirts?" I asked. He turns around and stares at me with the shirt that says steel and Keisha with a shirt that says magnesium. I think it's the first time I've ever seen Albert truly confused. "Okay," Keisha says, "get it? They match your shirt, but not the genius guy alone on the rock in space with his robot thing, because I told you I thought that was a bit creepy." Albert's still confused, so I interpret. "The shirts, they match because the three of us together are going to set the world on fire, like Mr. Daniel says." "Yes," he says. "Flint, steel, and magnesium are commonly used together for fire starters. I get it." The corner of Albert's mouth twitches, which is like someone else doing cartwheels down the hall. Without thinking, I yell to Shay across the room, "Hey, you tease all of us. You tease all of us." Oh, no, sorry. "You tease one of us, you tease all of us." Shay has an expression like she's just smelt rotten meat, and it makes Keisha and me laugh really hard. Then I pat Albert on the back. "Just wanted you to know that you can always count on us." "Well, that would either make you a set of fingers or an abacus." Albert, seriously?" Keisha shakes her head and then leans forward. "It means we think you're a cool dude." "We're allies," I smile. He goes back to arranging his paper. "Yes, I know," he says softly. "I am most grateful." The next chapter should sound familiar. Chapter 44 is called Tales of a Sixth Grade Something. Travis drives me to school because the project I did for our book report is too hard to take on the bus. I've always used my art for projects at school, but this is a three-dimensional scene on a piece of wood. A scene from Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing, the book that Mr. Daniels gave me to read. "What's gotten into you?" Travis asks. "Since when do you smile like that on a Monday morning?" I'm going to school feeling proud for once, so I just sit there continuing to smile. "Hey," he says, hitting me on the side of the leg. "I'm happy to see you so happy about school, Al." He laughs a bit. "To be honest, I wouldn't mind feeling some of that." When I get to class, lots of kids surround me. I guess it's because the project is so big. Shay is the first to come over. She looks at the kitchen scene I have made mostly of paper, including a working light over the sink that Travis helped me make. "How did you do that?" Shay asks, pointing to the lit light over the sink. "There's a battery underneath." She looks disgusted. "And you made that?" Oliver comes over and grabs the light. "Cool!" Before I can move, he knocks the wire, which makes the light go off. Shay begins. "Oliver, you're such a—" "Leave him alone," I interrupt. "If I don't care, then you shouldn't." Shay and Oliver are both wide-eyed, but for different reasons. Oliver smiles a little. "It's okay, Oliver. I'll fix it." Shay is squinty-eyed for a bit and then laughs in a way that's louder than normal. She's pointing at my project. "I read that book like 4 years ago, and there aren't any soldiers in it," she says, pointing at a picture hanging on the wall of the room I made. Max comes over. "What's up?" "Shay has a picture in here that has nothing to do with the book." "Book report, Allie? Should be about the book?" "Well," I say, feeling a little warm all of a sudden, Most houses have art on the wall, so I figured I'd decorate the room and drew a picture of my dad in his uniform. Wait, Max brightens. Your dad is in the army? Yeah. That's cool. What does he do? He's a captain with the tank division. Your father drives a tank? Seriously? That's awesome! I look up. Thanks. He holds up his fist to fist bump me, and as he walks away, he tells the other guys about my dad. From the look on Shay's face, she can tell that her insult backfired on her. Then Mr. Daniels comes over. He's wearing a tie with books on it. Wow, Allie, that's amazing! He leans forward and drops his voice. I'm really proud of you. My response is stuck in my throat. I watch a series of movies in my head, trying to see a time when a teacher has said this to me. There isn't one. Allie, he says. Still, I can't speak. Usually, when I find myself unable to speak, it's because I'm humiliated. I like this feeling a lot more. Chapter 45 is called My Brother's Question. I'm working on pictures of cupcakes that talk for an ad campaign for Keisha's business. She asked me to help her. It feels great to have someone ask me for help. As I draw, I think about my sketchbook and how I love it, but don't draw in it as much anymore. It used to be the only thing to make me happy. Now I have other things too. I hear Travis chewing gum in the doorway before I see him. Without looking up, I say, Mom told you to stop chewing gum like a goat. The whole room is not supposed to hear you. He goes silent. Weird. I finish erasing a line and look over at him. He looks kind of stiff. His hands are stuffed in his pocket. Then he takes one hand out and brushes his chin with his fist. Travis, what's wrong? I just wanted to ask you a question. Do you want to borrow money or something? He does that half smile and shakes his head, but I can see the seriousness. You can ask me anything you want, Travis. What is it? He comes over and sits on the side of my bed. That teacher of yours, Mr. Daniels, what does he do after school with you? You mean chess? He shakes his head. No, the reading. What does he do? I mean, do you just sound out words and stuff? I put my pencil down. Well, we talk about words, but it's not the same as with other teachers. Like, we never ever use paper. He has me write letters in blue or pink sand or sometimes in shaving cream. Really? So you can read now? Well, not yet, but it's getting easier. It can be like running up the side of the building sometimes. I get so tired, but I am doing it better. So it helps what he does? Yeah, and it's more fun than learning the old way. Sometimes it's boring because he'll do a list of words that have the same letters in them, like light and might and night. He writes the letters that repeat in every word in red and the rest in black. Then he makes the words into pictures so I can remember them better. I flip my paper over. Here, I'll show you. And I write sun with all those little lines around it pointing outward to look like a sun. And that really helps you remember it? Yeah. And he also has these sheets of plastic that I can see through, but they're different colors. And he puts those over the pages and it makes the headaches better. It's like turning the brightness down on the computer. It's weird. No more headaches from reading? Really? Well, I still get them, but they're not nearly as bad. Like a little stick hitting my head compared to a baseball bat. Travis smiles and then stands up. Well, I'm glad he's helping you, and I'm glad that you have Keisha and Albert Squirt. You're doing great. You're doing great too, Travis. Not long before you'll be opening up Nickerson Restoration, right? He nods once and turns to leave. He doesn't talk about the neon sign he'll have or the big rolling tool cases or anything. I miss hearing his mouth running like a motor about all his plans. Travis? Yeah, he turns. I could try to help you. Nah, he says, brushing his chin with his knuckles. I don't need you to do that. I was just wondering. All right. I'm going to read one more chapter. It's chapter 46 called Flying Tigers and Baby Elephants. Well, Allie, Albert says to me at lunchtime, before I really knew you, I used to call you the Flying Tiger. Ooh, Albert, that's a great name, Keisha says, like fierce, like nobody messes with her, right? I wish that described me, but it doesn't. Why in the world would he nickname me that? I thought that Albert paid more attention to things. I look up and he's watching me? Well, he asks, aren't you wondering why I called you that? I shrug. It's not an insult, just an observation. Fine, tell me then. Before the United States entered World War II, there was a bunch of American pilots in China. They were called the Flying Tigers. They flew those planes with the shark teeth on the nose. Wait, I say. My dad and brother love those planes. He nods once as I try hard to shake out the mind movie of me as an airplane. They did not have many planes, so they would repaint them every few missions, change a bit of the design and the numbers so the Japanese would think that there were far more of them than there really were. I sort of know what he means. I've watched you, trying to figure out how to repaint yourself for other people all the time, trying to make them think one thing about you when the opposite was true, like with the teachers, always getting sent to the office. Wow, I can't believe Albert noticed all this. Okay, Keisha asks, do you name everyone like that? I like analogies. They interest me and help me understand. What about me? Do you have a nickname for me? He hesitates. Okay, Professor, spill it, Keisha says. He bites his lip. Listen, you better tell me and tell me now. The baby. What? The baby? Are you kidding me? She gets a great name like the Flying Tiger and you call me the baby? What the heck's that supposed to mean? He turns red. I didn't want to offend you. Well, it's just a little too late for that. I'm going to send you into space where no man has gone before. No kidding. Is Keisha quoting Star Trek now? The girl has lost her mind. I call you the baby because when you're quiet, you're taking everything in. But when you want something, you're loud about it. And you usually get your way pretty fast. I burst out laughing. Oh man, Keisha, this is just too perfect. She folds her arms with a bit of a hump, but then begins to laugh too. Albert, do you have one for yourself? I ask. When he doesn't say no, I know it means yes. Tell us, Keisha says. I'm the elephant. Because you're big? I ask. No, Keisha says, because he has a good memory. Elephants do have good memories, he says, but that isn't why I chose it as my symbolic name. Then why? I ask. Well, I've become a pachyderm. Is that a religion, I ask? His face twitches a bit. No, an elephant is a pachyderm. It means an animal with a thick skin. I guess we're all pachyderms then, or we pretend to be. His finger picks at the side of his thumb. Elephants feel a wide range of emotion, but their behavior remains constant. On the outside, happy and sad often look the same. Can't remember the last time I had nothing to say about something. All this time I thought that Albert was the science guy with as much feeling as a pine cone. But I was wrong. All that watching he does, all that thinking, he really does understand things. He definitely gets me. All right. See you next time.